call the meeting order.
Yeah.
We're gonna start out by roll call. Don Eden,
Here, Mr. Chairman.
Burton Glover,
Here.
Bill Moore,
Here.
Patsy Gregory, Randy Wilson, here. All right. I guess the ones that's here, and since Corey sent the minutes out to us by email, everybody's had a chance to read over them. I can get a motion.
Motion to approve this amendment.
We got a motion to approve.
Second.
Got a second? Mr. Glover approved, Mr. Moore second. Roll call, see who's all in favor or against. Don Eden,
Yes.
Burton Glover,
Yes.
Bill Moore,
Yes.
Randy Wilson, yes. There's no need to call Miss Patsy's name every time she's not on here, right?
Right.
All right, Corey, you won't go over your,
Yeah, I went ahead and put another copy of June in there with the numbers plugged in that y'all didn't have, which, just so y'all have a copy with the numbers in there. Then the second page is, or page 3 is July. For this month, if you remember, the transfer station income is always lower because of it, they encumbered all the charge accounts, at the end of June 30. So, as you can see, it was low last year, also July of last year. Wasn't a big change in numbers really. On the monthly tonnage report, you'll see that there was more tonnage at the mixed no charge, and that went up because the highway department brought in and dumped some stuff where they had to clean out a fence row on, I think it was Sandy Springs Road. But it was the fence and trees and brush and all, so it couldn't be separated one way or the other. It was all mixed up, so it just had to go in the trash. And while we're on that, the parking lot, we agreed that it wouldn't go over $6,000 for everything, and that come in right around $4,000 for them to do our parking lot as far as the material and their labor. For that Friday, they come down and did it. And then the next one is the revenue analysis, and once again, I just added July on there. Of course, tires look like they went way down, but that's because we had those big tire dealer coming in last month, but so it does look like the income, but you can see from May to June to July that it just changes depending on how many tires we get in there. And if you notice, because July is the price change, just the private haulers brought in $10,000 more this month. I was kind of looking at that to see how that was going, like mixed waste, that was 3,000 more. Out of county it stayed about the same. It's about $1,000 difference. Commercial card fees went up July 1, so that line will be additional every month throughout this year.
Is that the one that said commercial cart fees?
Yeah, that's what the cost went up to July 1 for White House and Springfield's commercial carts. So that's the price that they'll pay.
That's what
They'll pay that.
Cart fees reference.
Yeah, and we had one way fee of $25 this month, so I had to add that line in. Recycle was down this month, but
Let me ask, what is the haul fees? What does that reference?
we charge Northcrest for pulling their box. We charge them $100 for each haul because we pull their compactor. They pay for the disposal at gate rate, but we also charge them additional $100 for doing it. So that's either usually we pull them every Wednesday, so depending on how many Wednesdays, it's usually $400 or $500. Now if their compactor goes down and we put open top boxes there, we only charge them $50 to pull an open top box. Just because we don't have to pull with it as much as the compactor.
So that line really applies to North Crest and nobody else.
Right. The only other boxes that we pull in the county are the ones we put at the schools, and they just pay the disposal costs. They don't pay we don't charge the schools a haul fee.
Have you had any, I guess, commercial haulers leave because of the rate increase?
There's a few of the roll-offs that have, but, there hasn't been a lot of grief or change over it. I haven't heard any of them say it. There was one guy, with that new GFL, which was Waste Industries. He said some of his heavier boxes that he has, they're having him take to a different transfer station, but it's not many. So I don't think we lost a lot there.
Court said increase in cart fees for July. Is that because of the tiredness of the weight?
No, I
Charge per ton?
reassessed their whole account. And White House had so many more commercial carts than they had the last time. So their cart, it did go up because of the new rate, but also because the cart number increased in the two cities. So, that'll be the same price throughout the rest of the year. And then we'll reassess on carts, because they said they are losing some because of some smaller businesses closing. Springfield did tell me that they had lost some carts, but, I'm not gonna refigure it every month for them. So, it's a yearly thing.
Anybody else got any questions on that?
We'll take the $25 away station.
VTK. But it only happened once.
Who was that?
VTK.
Same thing.
Not me. Vicky came in and paid the bill yesterday.
All right. What do you got for us on that?
Next, the brush pile. I've talked to Trey. My main thing is I'm waiting on the state. I contacted them, told them what area we wanted to put it in, and Andrea, the lady that I talked to, her the permits and stuff there, she was supposed to have another meeting this Friday. Today, well, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Friday. It's a crazy week. She's supposed to talk to Mike Horsley again and get some kind of definite of what exactly they're going to need for us to move it. But I got to thinking, because of the sheriff's office being there so much this week, what am I going to do if they're back there on the gun range? I can't send people back to a brush pile in the back area if they're back there shooting. So I talked to Dale about, would we have more room if we moved it around the corner and behind animal control? We'd have to move some of that old mulch that's there from years ago, but I don't know what else to do because of the gun range being back there. I think we'd have to put up gates in front of the gun range so people didn't go down in there, and I think we would have to maybe use our old brush pit the days that they're back there shooting, and I think that would just become major confusion. So that's why I'm thinking maybe over behind animal control may be better, because one, it's closer. It'd be easier to keep an eye on people coming in and out there, and then we don't have to worry about the gun range.
How big area is that over behind the county truck?
Behind animal control?
I mean, I know it goes all the way to the
Oh,
fence.
yeah, we could definitely clear some out and make it bigger than what we got, but, there's like a big hill behind animal control, and see, we already had mulch piles there from years ago where we just put the mulch down to rot, and, so all of that, we could take the dozer and clean that up, plus it wouldn't cost us as much as far as, it'd be a shorter roads to rock to go to that, and, but I'm waiting on the state to let me know what I gotta do to move it wherever. She hasn't got back with me, so, I don't know if it has to be a permit modification or not, because I have to start there before I do anything. But I was telling Dale, I said, what are we gonna do on the days they're back there shooting? Because it doesn't happen a lot, but then like this past week, like I said, it caught my eye. They were coming in and out 3 days out of a week. So, I mean, I
Does
think,
anybody notify you when they're gonna go back there
Yes.
and fire?
I don't know ahead of time. They come and sign in. We make them sign in at the scale house, so the scale house knows they're back there. And, but I don't know ahead of time any kind of schedule. Unless it's like something big that they're doing, they'll say, hey, we're gonna be out here with explosives on this day, or, you know, something like that. But as far as them just coming out and shooting, I don't know till they show up. So y'all have any comments? I mean, as far as maybe picking another place since,
Well, what is the history on the gun range? I mean, what, was it put back there? Was there any planning done, or did the sheriff's department, whoever it was at the time, just go in there and,
well, the sheriff at the time came and asked if they could do that, if they could set a gun range to the back. And there was like some rules and restrictions written up as far as when they come, when they don't come. Then we found out from the state that they're not even supposed to be on the property unless there's one of us there. But still, they come and do nighttime shoots that I don't even know about. So, I mean, really, we're not supposed to do that. But as far as what they've done, as far as their equipment and stuff back there, that's all been done by them. They mow it. They'll come and get our little tractor and keep it mowed. We don't have to fool with it, but I just don't have any advance notice when somebody's coming.
well, it's just my observation, it looks like there's some areas where that gun range could be moved more to the north, but, you know, I'm sure it's gonna create some conversation if and when that came about, so, that's one reason I wanted to know kind of what the background was, is why it's located where it is.
I think mainly because it was kind of down in that berm, and then they could just shoot into that bank that was already there, and then they, you know, put their targets in that area. I think that was the main reasons why it started back there, because they already had
Does this go back to Emory?
Probably does.
no, gun range didn't start after I started, and I started in '98. Apple was mayor when I started here.
Well, it doesn't make any, I just wanted,
That was still Emory. Wasn't that Emory?
Oh, Ted Emery, yeah, I'll bet you,
She was confusing Mayor and Sheriff, I think.
yeah. Yeah, he was still here, cause in '98. But I don't think it went that far back. I remember, was it a Lieutenant Green years ago?
yep,
Yeah.
Larry Green.
He was here when Emory was.
Larry, he was the one that really got that, as far as I know. He was the one that I always communicated with Randall on it and got the gun range started back then, if I remember correctly.
Well,
So it was already here in '05 when I started with the fire department.
well, in other words, it's kind of been grandfathered in, I'm gonna use that terminology.
But do we need to get to the point where we are following the rules as far as somebody being back there with?
Yeah, I mean, they at least need to let me, I wish, I don't know, I think Spivey's the one that's over the training, and, I wish that they would at least give me, if they know in advance what days, what kind of schedule. And sometimes it may just be one or two of them come out there and
This
just,
week it's been a bunch.
but this week it's been constant
Just-
traffic. I don't know what training they were doing, but
Well, you know, it sounded like to me there's a possibility that if it became feasible to use that ground back there, that you could set some kind of schedule, you know, when they could and when they couldn't. Certainly, I hear them, you know, I don't pay any attention to it, you know, sometimes at night they're back there, as you say, and
mhm.
I mean, it is what it is. I think, even going back to the time when I was in judging that, well, they would even do something, they'd come in through the farm sometime, some kind of tactical exercise back there, but they haven't done it lately, so.
But I just, I mean, we could do that, or like I said, I could see what it would take and if we could move it over behind, the hill behind animal control. We would still have more room for brush doing that, so.
Can I do this? Let me make a motion that you inquire as to both locations, as a state, see what the pros and cons are, and come back to the next meeting and talk about it further. And you can, like, I talked to Trey, I think the push wall is gonna be bid later this month.
Yes, he sent me the final on it.
All right,
He brought by, well, no, he emailed it this morning. He brought by a copy yesterday. Because there were some changes.
well,
Oh.
I just asked him, I think if we gotta talk about a push wall and how much it's cost, he needs to be present, so he indicated he'd be present at our next meeting, so talk about that and then talk about feasibility issues.
All right, but we do have a motion.
All right, I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Okay, what was that motion now? We got over into.
To inquire on both locations, like the pros and
Right.
cons between moving it to the back and to behind animal control.
Oh, I'll say that.
We have a second. All right, we're gonna do a roll call. Don Eden,
Yes.
Burton Glover,
Yes,
Bill Moore,
Yes,
Randy Wilson, yes. All right.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know that it needs to be in the form of a motion, but I think we can encourage Corey to try to contact the sheriff's office to see if they could come up with some kind of a schedule. And I guess the big thing to know that somebody, whoever the training officer is, knows that people are coming out there. They don't, it's getting that time of the year that's going crazy.
I'm like, you don't think it would have to be in a motion, but it wouldn't hurt for her to just contact them, work together.
well, I think in conjunction, just inform them what we're talking about, even,
Yeah.
even what the basis for the questions.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a reason behind it.
Okay, and this is what Trey brought me one of these, the push wall, like Mr. Glover mentioned, is, I got everything. Here's a big print he brought me yesterday on the wall, but we did, or day, well, I guess it was yesterday. But see, they just had these little corner plates. You know how we talked about putting the metal saddle all the way across the top, like they had down in Williamson or Franklin, the city of Franklin. They had the saddles of that metal plate that went over the top. Well, they had only figured it in coming down like 6 inches.
I'm not far, can you go over that again? I mean,
You know how they had those metal plates, kind of like they called them saddles over the top of the concrete walls?
Yeah,
We wanted to put those on to keep the loader, those
Yeah.
grappler buckets. Well, at first the engineer just put in this little corner piece.
yes.
And so, Trey had them go back and make that come down. The metal will go all across the top and down. This is all I could get printed out on my little printer today. I don't have big printers. But, they did change it to where it'll be a full saddle that goes,
Over each wall.
a steel plate that'll come down. He's got it a foot and looks like 8 inches coming that far down. That way it's covered, all the way around here. So that's the only difference between the plans. And, he sent me all that today and we got it approved. I went through it and told him I was good with all that and he was good with all of it. So Trey's going to get back with him first of the week to get, the bid packets going. So I don't know how long, Trey, we haven't discussed how long of leaving the bid open. So I don't know when we will actually open bids. I guess I'll know more beginning of the week.
I think we've had, in other bids, we've talked about need to have 30 days.
Uh-huh.
I think that's supposed
Leave
to be
it open for
uniform.
30 days, is that what you're saying?
Is that right? 30 day
yeah. that's all
bid
we
would
were
be out.
And there's also some things, Trey had sent an email to the mayor and I today because he really didn't know which direction to go and what we want him to do as a committee. Here's the email he sent on some different projects. I think Mr. Glover had asked him about. And there's some things on here that I thought we had tabled in a past meeting, and that's why he questioned me about it, if we were still going forward with it. And I told him, number one, no matter what, this push wall is the most important thing, because it's gotta be done. I think that should be top priority. And then after that's done is when that same engineering company is supposed to come in and do the structural inspection of the existing building. The relocation of the brush disposal, number 4. We've already been in contact over that, and as soon as I know something from the state, Trey told me to get back with them, or if I needed anything else until then to let him know. But I didn't know what to tell him as far as continuing with the permitting and opening of a C&D landfill because of the cost of that. Who knows when we'd be able to do it. And also the purchase and installation of the grapple loader to replace the existing loaders. But, you know, like you told me, it wouldn't replace them. You would still have to have loaders to push off. And then the construction of the solid waste loading pit. Project planning and budgeting for a new industrial type roadway for the property across the road. And a sewer line, I think, that would be in that same area. Of course, you can read what he says. It's several large scale and costly projects. It'll take a good bit of time and work for me to gather information. And I know, you know, Trey's got a lot going on right now with the schools and everything else, but I really didn't know. He has to please advise so I may properly prepare for the presentation for the meeting. So I guess the question is which of these do we want to focus on? Because it is a lot at once. And do we want to explore this if it's going to be years down the road?
Well,
I think was Trey's question.
y'all help me, everybody on the committee, everybody in this room, because I thought the meet before last, was it, or the meet, that there was a motion on the floor about the thing about doing the grapple loader, and it died on the floor. Is that, is that what,
correct?
So, I mean, I don't know. So, for right now, because I thought we was talking about the funds for everything.
And then we also kind of agreed that we would put the pit on hold until we got some of this other stuff built.
That's what I understood.
Came up with some other money.
That was my understanding too, Commissioner Moore.
All right, well, going back to gravel, let me explain a question I asked of Trey and he said it could be discussed in the course of the appraisal of the building, the structural engineering. I just want to know, going back to the kind of wear and tear that goes on the concrete floor and the loaders. And I don't know. I'm just wanting some answers. I'm not asking to go out here and start bidding anything, but I know a few years back we had on the floor in there, it had to go in and put a concrete floor in it, didn't we?
Yes.
And I don't know
Yeah,
what kind of
the floor costs $50,000 to where Trey's talking about doing this grapple thing. He said it could cost up to $500,000. So I think that's Trey's kind of thing is, you know, why are we addressing this if there's not going to be any funding?
Are we talking about putting a grapple loader on the grapple hook on the loader itself, or we're talking about putting up?
No, like a stationary,
Like the ones we seen in Williamson County set up around.
Okay.
like on the push walls.
Right.
Yeah,
But that's what I'm right in saying that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Trey's recommendation was, okay, we're moving forward with the push wall. And then the engineers are going to come in once that's done and inspect the structural of the rest of the building. Now that we've got the metal back, and they actually finished the gutters today on the loading pit from where that was all messed up. He wanted them to finish all that up before he brought the structural engineers back in and discuss, just inspect the building to see what needs to be for just safety reasons, on the other walls and stuff.
Yeah, from off of this list, I see doing the wall, checking where to go with the brush, And, you know, I think this other stuff needs to be put on hold like it has been.
This may not be the place and time, but all don't mean to hurt your feelings about everything, but I don't think any of us should be going to Trey and asking him to do anything. I think it belongs to that man over there.
I agree.
Sure.
I agree.
And because, you know, I know he's doing quite a bit right now with the school system. He's got more than he can say grace over on some days with that, and I really think that let him kind of focus, because
And if they need our help, we'll be there for them.
theoretically it's 50% for the county and 50% school system, right? Or that was the way we talked about it.
That's correct, yes, that's correct.
Well, I didn't go to him and ask him to develop any kind of list. I just asked him, I talked to him about what we saw down in Franklin.
Okay.
And all I wanted to know, I mean, evidently they made a study. And, you know, somebody, if we could find out from them, why did they go with a grapple instead of, and why did they design it? You know, I would think there was probably some kind of dollar and cents that was considered.
They talked about, while we were there, did they not, about using that pole where your grapple hooks would be as something to pack down the trailers? Did they not?
Yeah.
So they could get more weight on the trailer?
Yes, they did.
I think that was,
Speaking of the grapper too, I had talked to Trey about it a long time ago. He thought our building height was way too low for him.
yeah.
And then he said you'd have to go.
I mean, it may be something in the future, but I just don't see, I don't even see it right now.
Yeah.
With the way things are going, not only out there, but just the whole.
Well, all right, let me just throw out, now we're gonna have to buy a new loader. Is that not correct? In the newest one, did you say it was 6 years old?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's gonna have to be done for
Yeah,
sure.
and so that's gonna be roughly $200,000.
Or more.
We would, yes, it would be. So,
But I think to use a grapple, we'd have to have a lower pit first. So
Where?
before we even get to a grapple, we're gonna have to go lower. So,
And if we do get.
and he's talking about, like I said, the grapple costing, all the setup costing $500,000. Well,
And you still gonna have to have some loaders too, with
Right.
it, maybe smaller, or.
I mean, I do think before any of that, I think we are gonna have to have a loader just because of what we're spending on maintenance on these older ones.
Well, it's no doubt.
Got one fixed yesterday and another one, something busted on it today.
You know, at one
So-
point, we was supposed to be setting up, or we was getting one, every 5 years.
yeah, that's correct.
I may be wrong. Y'all help me if I say this
Well,
wrong, but
That's right.
After we had to use the reserve,
that's right.
that's what set us back. And now we're not putting anything in reserve for 2 more years to pay back the other 400,000. Because we've only made 200,000 in payment. This year will be the second $200,000 payment. So,
Corey, how much is a loader?
hmm.
How much is a loader?
I think the last one was like 180 and that was 5 years ago, so 200 and something I'd say now.
Well, of course, you know, how, are you keeping track of how much you're spending on each loader to keep? All right,
Yeah,
now what have you spent on, say, the 2 newest loaders this past month?
just in July, we just looked at that, it was already, oh, I got, never mind. I forgot. We spent $2,400 just in July is what we've already spent. I mean,
On those 2 of them?
well, actually on all 3, but one's been running, we can't keep all 3 going at one time, it seems like. Had to redo the radiator on one, but that was covered under warranty,
I'm
but,
still waiting for 2 Scott bills.
yeah, and then there's 2 more bills from Scott where they came down, so we're already talking $2,400 expenses in 1 month.
Well, you know, that's, to me, that's what you've got to weigh. When do you buy a new loader? If it-
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, Mr. Eden.
who do we know that uses those grapple hooks?
Franklin, Tennessee.
Just Williamson County, I think, is what
No,
we,
City of
no, not
City of Franklin.
Yeah, City of Franklin.
Yeah, where we went on the field trip?
That's
Yes.
correct.
Yes.
Well, they had 2 of them. They had them both parked and they was loading with their front end loaders.
they were pushing them in the pile where, Don, I think they're pushing it in a pile so the grapple could get a hold of it.
No, we stood right there and watched them load the trailer.
Pushed it on.
Okay.
Pushed into the pit
All right.
with the truck, yeah.
So that don't really make sense, what you saying, Mr. Dunn? Why would they have it, they put, but he's right, that's what they, I think they packing it with them, something that would add a
At
packer on.
the end, it seems like they would push and load, and then at the end,
Yes.
They
pack that
pack it.
down to add more, would be the use of them, but.
Yeah, of course,
They was weighing them though.
in Webster County, they had some kind of attachment they put on the loader. They take the bucket off and put an attachment on it. It would go over there and push.
Cheatham County uses a backhoe, just the back bucket of a backhoe. Push their trucks down,
Well,
because they push all kind of shit. They just take the backhoe bucket and smash down, get what they can in there. But yes, I think loader is definitely for what we're spending.
Well, we all know this gonna happen someday.
Right,
I mean,
we're pushing these as far as we can, but
if the newest one's 6 years old, what's the other two?
I mean,
You
the
know?
oldest one is, it needs tires too. Do you spend, who wants to spend $16,000 on solid tires on a 15-year-old
Something's
loader?
gonna be gone before they half worn out.
Mm-hmm.
I understand, but what do you do?
I mean, I can't put them on the rims.
How do we approach it? I know it's coming or it's already here on the tires. Or the tires need to be replaced on
We
it.
had one set of tires that we had taken off another loader at the time, and we were able to, it matched up on
Yeah.
the oldest loader. So we did get some better ones on it, but they're still not gonna last that long. I mean,
Well, do you have any perspective about, when a loader's gonna have to be replaced? Or do you need to do some analyzing and talk to us next month about it?
I think I'd have to look at the prices of it and see what we could come up with, because there's no, like I said, with us not doing a reserve, there's not gonna be the money there.
If one of them goes palm down, well, we're gonna be able to get by with the two till we can do something.
As long as I can keep two going. I have to have two running at all times.
Well, how long does it take, if you put one out for bid, how long would it take to get a loader? Do you have any idea on that?
Last one after bid, I think it was there within 90 days. Seems like from Scott. Because it was right after, like we did it at the end of the fiscal year, and I think we put it in service maybe end of August. So I'd say altogether probably about 90 days.
But those loaders, do they have I don't know what, are they specifically designated as to be used in a landfill?
No, they're not specific. The only thing that makes them specific and what we require is the grapple bucket and the tires, solid tires.
What, does Caterpillar offer one that's designed specific for the landfill use? Do you know?
I don't know unless it would be the ones with like the steel tires on them for like dirt. You know how they have the. I'm not sure on actual landfill
We
use.
didn't use that though.
No, that'd be a rough ride on a concrete. But
What I'm thinking, ones that have extra guards on it for
yeah,
underneath, and then really, we need to, whenever we bid another loader, we need to inquire about the design of the rear bumper on it, based on what we.
from this newest one, yeah, I think they made a lot of changes between the last one we got and the one before.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's just.
Anyways, I'll check prices and see what we're talking as far as expense.
And I said the wall and relocating the brush. I think Burton knows more about the land on Tom Austin and the sewer line that he might share with us. I think it's something to do with, maybe it's not costing us anything, right, Burton? Is it something you want to share with us on that?
Well, some that were present at the building and grounds when, the new owner's name, I can't think.
Artie Combs.
Combs, yeah, Mr. Combs was there, and, what his, presentation was that, he would give his comment, I guess would be the best way to phrase it, that he'd give us 4 or 5 acres fronting on 431 so that we could get a road in, and then he wanted us to put the sewer line in from the west side of new 431 down where it would connect with the sewer line at solid waste. And he said that it probably cost $100 a foot. Now, that's what I had, the conversation, it started about a year ago when Randy Justice had the property lease for sale, and he's the one that sold it to Mr. Combs. And, I had a conversation with Keith and maybe somebody else just about, I don't know how many feet it is from 431 over to the county's property line. It's a few hundred feet. It just looked like to me it would, eventually we need to change the road, make it wider. Less traffic is in there, so that's kind of the gist of things. And then at building and grounds, we just asked Trey to make an assessment of what because he was sitting there listening to what Mr. Combs was explaining, and then come back to building and grounds. Of course, he can come back to this committee too and just give a report. Is that a fair statement?
Was it my understanding too that he don't really care if the road ever gets built in there or not?
Correct.
He wants a sewer line.
Right.
Or us to put that sewer line in. And I think to gain that many acres up front at 431, I think it benefits the county.
I mean, it's 50 acres between.
I think it's
county.
something the engineer needs to,
Yeah, he needs
see the cost of it, but.
That's what I'd like to see, a cost of running that sewer line and see if it's feasible for the county to do it.
Yeah, just see what kind of deal it would be for the county. So that's,
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
okay. Bill, you,
Just
does that
let-
kind
it's-
of sum it up?
I think so, I guess,
As long as it don't cost us mega bucks, I mean, it
Right.
would be something that could help us later
Well, I
on down the
mean, one
road.
thing, I did ask Randy, I guess since, he paid $20,000 an acre for that property. So if he was gonna give us 3 or 4 acres, you can kind of calculate what value you might be placing on what he would be given, so. And then it just makes, of course, Keith and I have been driven on the property and, drove through the gate, just, it's ground up there that's, pretty flat.
Yes, that's where the brush pile used to be years ago up on that flat spot.
If he's gonna develop that other side, I don't see why we can't get some money out of the economic development group to get sewer line.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, we just,
We'll go to them and ask them for some money.
TDOT might even help with the road. I don't know whether that's,
I don't even think we need to even plan on the road at any time soon. Let's get that.
Yeah.
sewer line going, and then we can do the road anytime.
yeah,
It was ours.
Yeah, once it's ours, it's ours.
yeah.
It'd
So
take,
that's kind of,
it'd take TDOT 12, 15 years to get a road in there. We're slow.
okay.
I think the sewer line's much important.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
So-
I mean, I think what beneficial to the county is a road frontage, and then that's what you're doing, and then the sewer running through the property is gonna enhance the property further, just if you didn't even have a road.
Well, the tax base, when he goes across the street, being able to develop all of that
Yeah,
will significantly help the county.
yeah, of course, all of that he's bought between 430, new
And
430
431.
is gonna be, annexed into the city. So there's gonna be, the city's just, over the years, it's just gonna continue to grow on south.
How far does Cooktown come up at 431 now?
Mount Sharon Road.
Yeah, Mount Sharon Road.
Even them with Springfield, take it on, problem.
Better hope it's Springfield.
So if I reply to, Trey and tell him, number one, push wall. After push wall is done, then we'll do the structural inspection like he said. Brush pile, I gotta wait, he already knows where we're at on the brush pile. And just ask him to assess the cost of the sewer line instead of all the road and all that stuff. That way his plate's not so full, because like he said, he didn't even know if he could get all this done by next meeting and have.
Well,
a
if he
good
can't,
system.
he just needs to say he can't. I mean, that's.
Well, that's what he wrote in the email. He said some of it, he wants to spend time on the projects. Because he said projects at upcoming solid waste movement. If I need to prepare to give a report on all of these subjects, if yes, then we may have to push my presentation back to October or even November, if a full report on each is desired. So what if I ask him by next meeting, we should have everything for the wall, either already out to bid or bids close to coming back in. We can't discuss brush issues until the state gets back with me. We can't do the structural inspection of existing building until after the wall's done. So that would leave it to just figuring out the sewer line and the push wall by next month.
You know, in his defense, he's in the middle of the animal control building. now.
Right,
He's
Hoopertown.
He's taking that over, and then, let me tell you, track supply buildings, a gift that just keep giving.
Oh,
Track supply buildings, a gift that just keeps giving. We haven't got the plumbing solved yet,
Okay.
and now the state wants new outlets put in, hit the panels that whoever built the building. The engineer is not gonna pass that. It's just a gift that just won't go away.
and also I had building and grounds crew, a couple of Joe's guys come down and tore out the wall in the old scale house, that partition we had put in, and then another wall, because if we ever do get to start having real regular meetings back down there again, I thought that open room would be a lot more room than my little office. And that way we're still using the building for something. And that way Dale can have the back office still like he used to. So they came in and tore out that wall. They wanted me to get some estimates on just sanding down that concrete floor, maybe just sealing it. But the estimates I've gotten, I'm not willing, I don't think $3,500 is, I think that's entirely too much to come in, and especially when we did one of them on our own already. So either I use public service workers when I get them, or we'll get down there and scrape the rest of the glue off, because we've already done, like I said, one office. But they did tear down the wall, and there'll have to be a new drop ceiling put in. But I don't think it's gonna be anything that's majorly costly, because we do have quite a bit in our 335, our building line item. So that way they'll have his office back and the building's not just sitting there empty and not in use.
Well, thought it, what kind of life expectancy do you have for that building? I mean, what you're talking about, you have to heat it and cool it if that's all we're gonna use it for.
Well,
I mean,
there's
as
the
much-
bathroom and Dale's office, and then I guess we could use it as storage, but if we're not in there, then, like right now, we just have the temperature turned up on the thermostat.
So I'd like to know, more about how much it costs to heat and cool it, and, what we would need to spend if we wanted to use it for, say, a conference room before we move forward on it.
I think we're gonna be meeting here.
I hated it sitting empty and us not using it for nothing. I think it's too good of a area still. But at least Dale could have his own office back in the back, because, he keeps all his paperwork and stuff in his truck now, because his office used to be down there.
Well, he can still have it back, like Mayor said, we probably gonna be meeting here for a while. If we have to, we can meet longer if this virus ever does get over, we can still meet here if we have to.
Well, we already keep the thermostat turned up, so I don't think that our heat and air bill, our electric bill hasn't, I don't think, changed that much since we switched scale houses.
we'll experiment with it, see what happens.
But that's all I have.
Anybody else got anything else they need to
I
bring
got
it up?
one thing. Jason Moore, Commissioner Moore texted me about up there at the youth convenience center at the landfill, about that, going off that hill,
About the rail, Barton.
yeah, about the rail.
Did we ever hear anything else about them putting the poles up?
Well, yeah, I've talked to him and, Cumberland Electric changed their,
Houses.
yeah, they won't let them use it, but digger buckets, but now I talked to Chad Crabtree back before the pandemic hit us and, they were still willing to come out there and help us put them up for us, but, Brandon, have you talked to Brandon about it, son?
No, I haven't talked to Brandon about it. I mean, not
Yeah.
the last, like you said, since the virus is hit and everything, I haven't, but back,
I mean, what Chad said, he's got a postal driver on the front of a tractor, and he said they could bring that out there. So you know, with what's been going on,
Mhm.
I just hadn't asked any more questions. I know the poles are laying out there, and,
I guess it's just getting a matter of seeing when they'll help us, since, I mean, if they're doing it, we're at their mercy, I guess, you know, whenever they could come out and do it.
okay, I'll have another conversation with Chad between now and the next meeting.
Okay.
I got something too, it's been a couple months ago, Corey, I was out there one morning and, there was a line lined up like crazy up there because the thing hadn't been changed out. And, my nephew told me last night, it was done the same thing on him just 2 or 3 days ago. Was it such, have we got one that's broke down or something?
No, what it is the cardboard truck is back in the shop. So we set an open top up there because people fuss if they can't dump their cardboard. So we don't have room to switch the box out. He's actually having to run back next door, empty it, and bring the empty back.
And that's what,
Because there's a big open top there for cardboard, because I get thousands of complaints if the cardboard.
but that don't
bins
really
are
make
full.
sense to me because that's the reason we got 2 compactors that
Right.
keep this from happening. So I don't,
Well, the cardboard bin is sitting where the compactor would go, the second box would go, because there's no other room. There's no other place to put that open top other than where the compactor box would go.
I understand what you're saying, but it's not,
I mean, I've even put an open top beside my office because those 2 cardboard bins are full and people were coming down there fussing because there's no place to put cardboard.
yeah, I understand what you're going through with that, but I understand we got 2 compactors, so this wouldn't be backed up. So when one was changing out, they could use the other one, and then now that we're not being able to because of that. So I don't know what the fix is what I'm saying, Corey.
Well, the fix, I mean,
Fix, they get the truck back.
yeah, getting the truck back, and because of the open top box for cardboard is sitting where the second compactor would
Yeah,
go.
I understand what you're saying there, but
But I can't put it to the side because then you can't get around. I mean, that was just too narrow right there, but that's just what, I don't know. The truck's been in the shop since Monday, so, I'll ask Dale tomorrow.
What's wrong with it?
To throw out, Baron?
Go out there,
Bert should put that in.
Yeah,
you'll get it back pretty quick. But
So,
if once
but
that
yeah.
box is full up there, they just need to come down to the transfer station and use that. Yeah, I mean, I know it's an inconvenience, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I'll just tell Dale to move
Don't
that one
wear
back
a
there.
mask.
I mean,
But that's why, it's because they got that,
I had no idea why, so.
yeah. But that's why we're trying to keep them appeased with cardboard. So,
Cardboard's up, isn't it?
well, it went back up to like,
Last month it was. you said.
yeah, it went back up and then to it had went to 90, but then I think it'd come back down a little on the last check, report. I think to 70, but it's still,
There's an article in the paper yesterday, the plastic's big back to come back. Big comeback.
so,
What they're putting in asphalt,
Yeah, and the company's wanting it for the bogs too.
That'd be a blessing, won't it?
absolutely.
Yeah.
what now?
They're using their plastic in asphalt now. They say
I
it's
saw
doing-
that today in the
It's
paper.
doing a better job than asphalt and it's lasting longer and
Yeah,
And I see plastic coming back.
We just figure out what we can do with some tires, but figure what we'll do with that, we'll be in good shape.
If we're putting these steel bands in there, it helps. Anyway, I just want to add that.
All right.
Yeah, that'd be great if we get, that develops.
Anybody else got anything else?
Move to adjourn?
So,
Got a second? All in favor? Get out of here. Thank you, Mr. Eden. He don't want to sleep on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.